My brothers and my sisters, I came to tell you that God is not silent. He's not pacing the floors of heaven wondering what to do next. He's not panicking about the state of the world. He's speaking loudly, clearly, and prophetically. The question is, are we listening? When God speaks, he doesn't just make noise. He creates movement. He doesn't toss words into the air like confetti. No, when God speaks, heaven and earth align, the atmosphere shifts, and what didn't exist the moment before is suddenly alive with purpose. That's why you can't take lightly a word that begins with God said. Because when God says, things are about to change. In Genesis 1, the earth was formless, void, and dark. But when God opened his mouth and said, let there be light, the darkness had no choice. It had to back up. Light broke through, order began to form out of chaos, and that same voice that created the galaxies still speaks today, not just to creation, but to you. And when he speaks, he's not echoing old ideas, he's launching divine assignments. I remember times in my life when everything looked stuck. Ministries stagnant, doors locked, prayers bouncing back like they hit a ceiling, and just when I thought nothing was moving, God spoke. Not in a loud thunderclap, but in a quiet moment of surrender. He dropped one sentence into my spirit and everything shifted. That's the power of a God-ordained word. When he speaks, dead things hear it. Locked doors, disease hears it. Delay hears it. And they all must respond to his authority, as in eject and help kill every creature that exists on his oath. God doesn't speak for reaction, he speaks for transformation. That means when he says something over your life, you don't stay the same. His word pulls you out of old patterns. It breaks chains that generations carried. It reprograms your identity and calls out greatness that's been buried under fear, insecurity, and shame. When he speaks, you stop seeing yourself as just a survivor and start realizing you were always meant to be a warrior. This is not the season to question if God is speaking. This is the season to tune your ear, turn down the volume of fear, mute the voices of distraction. Get quiet long enough to hear what heaven is releasing. Because I promise you, God is speaking louder than ever before. And what he's saying about 2025 isn't a vague hope, it's a specific promise. He's declaring things that must happen, that will happen, that cannot be stopped. If God said it, it's already done in the spirit. Now it's just waiting to be received by the obedient, by the expectant, by the ones who still believe in the supernatural power of a spoken word. So when you hear someone say, God said, don't take it casually. Lean in, listen closely. Because that word could be the one that shifts your entire life before July 14, 2025. Before July 14, 2025, God is calling his people into divine realignment. This isn't just a spiritual suggestion, it's a heavenly directive. Because far too many of us have been living out of sync with his will, drifting through life as if we've got time to spare, when in truth, God's timeline is moving with urgency. And when heaven starts moving, you don't want to be caught in the wrong position. You want to be where God is when he shows up. See, realignment isn't just about getting back to church. It's not just about praying more or reading a few verses a day. No, realignment means something deeper. It means coming back to the heart of God's purpose for your life. It means surrendering what you picked up along the way that doesn't belong. Relationships he didn't authorize, mindsets he didn't endorse, fears he never placed in your spirit. It's about saying, Lord, I don't just want your blessing, I want your order. Because when your life is out of alignment, even good things become heavy. Doors don't open the way they should. Peace becomes fleeting. You feel stuck, frustrated, anxious. And it's not always because the devil is attacking. Sometimes it's because you're walking on a path God never paved. But when you realign with heaven, things begin to click. Prayers begin to connect. Revelation begins to flow. Suddenly, you're not striving. You're walking in stride with the Spirit. Think about Elijah in 1 Kings 17. God told him exactly where to go by the brook Cherith and promised to provide for him there. Now watch this. The provision wasn't just anywhere. It was in the place God directed him. If Elijah had wandered off somewhere else, he would have missed the miracle. And that's the danger of being out of alignment. You can miss what God meant for you because you weren't where he told you to be. So before July 14, 2025, God is calling his people to return to alignment, to evaluate their hearts, to repent where necessary, to reset priorities. He's saying, get back into position because I'm about to release what I've held back, but only to those who are ready. That means no more spiritual laziness, no more divided focus, no more making excuses. The time is now. This is a Joshua 3 moment. Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. You've got to prepare today for what he wants to do tomorrow. And that preparation starts with alignment. Because when you get in sync with God's will, you unlock access to everything his word has promised. Healing, favor, promotion, peace. It's all found on the path of obedience. So ask yourself, am I in alignment with God's voice? Or am I still leaning on my own plans? Because realignment isn't just about direction, it's about protection. And in this prophetic season, obedience is no longer optional, it's essential. God's about to move, and he's giving you a window to move with him. Don't miss it. Before July 14, it's time to align. What the enemy meant for evil, God is going to flip for glory. That's not just a catchy phrase, it's a spiritual law. Because every time the devil devises a plan to take you out, God already has a strategy to pull you through and promote you in the process. The enemy has never had the final say over your life. He may write the first draft of destruction, but God edits the ending with victory. Some of you have walked through battles in the past year that nearly broke you. You faced betrayal, sickness, financial pressure, closed doors, and mental warfare. The devil thought he had you. He thought the setback would silence you. But what he didn't realize is that God doesn't waste pain. He repurposes it. That's why Romans 8:28 still rings true. All things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. That doesn't mean everything that happened was good, but it does mean that God has the divine ability to make it work for your good. Joseph looked his brothers in the face, the same ones who betrayed him, sold him, left him for dead, and said, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Why? Because Joseph had lived through the pit, the prison, and now stood in the palace. And here's the revelation: God let the enemy think he was winning, only to expose the limits of his power. The devil doesn't know everything. He overplays his hand every time. There are some things in your life right now that look like loss, but they are actually the setup for your greatest testimony. You didn't lose that job. It positioned you to step into your calling. That relationship didn't fall apart. It protected you from settling for less. That delay wasn't denial. It gave you the roots you needed to carry the weight of your future. God is not intimidated by what the enemy has done. He's about to turn it into a display of his glory. And hear this, before July 14th, 2025, there's going to be a divine reversal. What looked like a breakdown will turn into a breakthrough. What was meant to shame you will elevate you. What was spoken against you will fall to the ground, and God will raise you in the presence of those who counted you out. Because he prepares a table in the presence of your enemies. not their absence. So don't curse the battle. Thank God for it. Because what the enemy started, God is going to finish. He's going to flip it in a way that leaves no doubt it was him. And when he does, you won't just survive, you'll shine. You won't just make it through. You'll step into purpose, power, and promotion. And everyone who watched you suffer is about to watch you rise. Let the devil know he should have taken you out when he had the chance. Because now God's about to get the glory. Let me make this plain. God is not just whispering about what's coming. He's declaring it. And when God declares, he does so with power, with precision, and with purpose. Before July 14, 2025, there are 5 prophetic moves that heaven has already put in motion. And if you're paying attention, not just with your ears, but with your spirit, you'll see the signs, you'll feel the shift, and you'll know this isn't natural movement, it's divine momentum. Earth, sudden open doors. I'm talking about doors you didn't knock on, rooms you didn't apply for, connections you didn't orchestrate. Because when God's favor is activated, man's systems no longer set your limits. The right people will find you. The right opportunity will open to you. You've been hidden long enough. Now God is pulling you forward. And it won't be gradual. It will be sudden, overnight, out of nowhere, but completely on time. Second, hidden things will be revealed. Both in the world and in the church, God is lifting the curtain. There's been too much pretending, too much manipulation, too much compromise. And God is saying enough. He's exposing the wolves in sheep's clothing, the lies that have been covered in charisma, the systems that have silenced truth. This will be a season where truth stands taller than titles. You'll see God protect the righteous and remove the masks from the deceptive. Third, supernatural acceleration. The things that were crawling will begin to run. The things that were stagnant will surge. The prayers you've been praying for years will suddenly be answered in days. Why? Because this is a season where time bends under the weight of divine urgency. What used to take 5 years will take 5 months. What used to require a process will happen in a moment of obedience. But acceleration only comes to the aligned. You must be ready to move when God says move. Fourth, kingdom transfer. Wealth is not just shifting, it's being reassigned. Influence is not just changing, it's being placed into the hands of those who fear God, walk in integrity, and operate in wisdom. Proverbs says the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. And that time is now. But it's not so we can get rich and relax. It's so the gospel can go further, faster, and with fire. This isn't prosperity for pride, it's provision for purpose. And fifth, global awakening. Revival isn't coming, it has already begun. In cities, in nations, in living rooms. God is breathing on hearts that were dry and dusty. There's a holy hunger rising. People are weeping in worship, opening their Bibles again, craving real truth, not motivational fluff. And he's using unexpected people to carry this flame. You don't have to be known, you just have to be available. So hear me. These 5 moves are not predictions. They're prophetic instructions. God isn't just telling you what he's going to do. He's telling you what to prepare for. You've got to get your house in order, get your heart ready, get your faith sharp, because when these things start unfolding, you won't have time to get ready. You'll need to be ready. God is not playing games in this season. He is shaking, shifting, and setting apart his people for a divine assignment. And if you're aligned, you won't just watch it happen, you'll be part of the move. You must be in position to receive the promise. That's not a suggestion, that's a command. Because God can declare something over your life. He can prepare the blessing, open the door, pour out the oil. But if you're out of position, you'll miss what was meant for you. And in this prophetic season leading up to July 14, 2025, God is not looking for people who just want a word. He's looking for people who are willing to walk in it. When Elijah told the widow in Zarephath that her oil would not run dry, the miracle wasn't activated until she obeyed the instruction. She had to take what little she had and put it in the hands of God's plan, and it was in her obedience that provision was released. Position is not about being perfect, it's about being postured in faith and prepared to move. There's some people who've been saying, God, why haven't I seen the breakthrough yet? And God is responding because you're praying for a harvest while standing in the wrong field. See, if God tells you the blessing is coming from the north and you keep walking south, you'll miss what's already in motion. You've got to be in the place where his promise can meet your faith. God told Noah to build an ark not when it started raining, but before. Noah didn't wait for signs in the sky to start gathering wood. He didn't wait until the storm to get serious. He moved when God spoke. And because he was in position, he didn't just survive the flood, he became the foundation for a brand new future. And some of you are waiting on confirmation when God is waiting on your construction. He gave you the blueprint. It's time to build. Being in position means your posture has to change. You can't carry doubt and destiny in the same heart. You can't walk in purpose while clinging to fear. You can't receive from heaven while being led by the noise of the world. You've got to shut down distractions, cut off compromise, and lock in to God's frequency. Because in this hour, timing matters. Don't be like the 5 foolish virgins in Matthew 25, those who had the invitation but no oil. They were called but not prepared, and when the bridegroom came, they were locked out. That's a warning for this generation. You can have access to the prophecy and still miss the fulfillment if you don't make preparation your priority. So what does position look like? It looks like radical obedience. It looks like sacrificial prayer. It looks like worship when nothing makes sense. It looks like walking by faith, giving when it hurts, forgiving when it's hard, staying faithful when you feel forgotten. Because those who are in position before July 14, 2025, will not just witness the move of God, they'll be used in it. This is not the time to be passive. This is not the time to coast. This is the hour to wake up, rise up, and stand ready. Because when the cloud moves, you've got to move with it. God is releasing divine appointments, generational blessings, supernatural connections, but only to those who are in position, in alignment, and in motion. Don't just pray for the promise, position yourself for it. Don't just shout over the prophecy, prepare for it, because the promise is on the way. And when it arrives, you'll want to be standing right where God told you to be. God is not looking for spectators in this season. He's looking for participants. This is not the hour to stand by the sidelines of your own calling, clapping for others while doubting your own assignment. No, this is the moment where you must step into the flow of what God is doing, because what's coming after July 14, 25 isn't for those who are hesitant. It's for those who are ready. Read the word and you'll see. God always moves through those who are willing, not always through those who feel worthy. Moses said, I can't speak. Jeremiah said, I'm too young. Gideon said, I'm the least in my tribe. And still God said, go. Why? Because God doesn't need your perfection. He needs your participation. The power is his, the plan is his, but the vessel, that's you. Some of you are waiting for a green light when heaven is already shouting, move. You keep asking God to confirm what he already told you. You keep asking for signs when you already have instructions. God's not looking for another meeting. He's looking for movement. He's waiting on your yes, not your excuse. Because the longer you delay your obedience, the more you delay the impact he wants to make through you. It's time to stop playing it safe, playing it small, playing it comfortable. Faith doesn't grow in safety. It grows in surrender. And this next season requires a bold, unapologetic yes to whatever God puts in front of you. Whether it's starting the ministry, writing the book, launching the business, mentoring the next generation, or simply walking away from what's been draining your soul, you've got to move. This is your Jordan River moment. The waters aren't going to part until your foot steps in. God didn't part the Red Sea before Moses stretched out his staff. He didn't bring down the walls of Jericho before the people march. Miracles follow motion. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to trust the one who already does. Your movement is the key that unlocks momentum. And listen to me, obedience doesn't just affect you, it affects generations. There are people attached to your assignment, blessings connected to your yes, destinies tied to your decision. That's why the enemy's been fighting you so hard, not because of where you've been, but because of where God is taking you. He sees the threat of your obedience. He knows the power of your yes. That's why he's tried to bury your boldness under fear, but it's time to dig it back up. You've been prepared for this. Every trial, every delay, every detour, it's all been shaping you. You've cried, but you kept going. You've wrestled, but you didn't give up. And now, God is saying, I'm calling it out of you. It's time to step forward. It's time to step in. It's time to step up. Before July 14, 2025, you will see doors open, but only if you walk toward them. You will see breakthrough, but only if you break out of fear. You will see harvest, but only if you sow in obedience. This season belongs to the movers, the risk takers, the faith walkers who trust that when God speaks, he doesn't need backup. He just needs belief. So step boldly, speak courageously, obey instantly, because your next miracle is waiting on your next move. Something of you have been feeling something in your spirit, something you can't explain with words, but you know it's real. It's that deep sense that you were made for more, that something is shifting, that you're not where you used to be, but you haven't quite stepped into what's coming next. That feeling is not imagination. That's the Holy Spirit stirring you. You are being activated. God is not just doing something around you, he's doing something in you. This isn't about hype. This isn't about emotionalism. This is about divine awakening. You're being awakened to purpose, awakened to destiny, awakened to an assignment that's bigger than your comfort zone and deeper than your past. You've been marked. Not just to be blessed, but to be a blessing. And before July 14, 2025, that inner stirring is going to give birth to visible movement. There comes a moment in the life of every believer when you stop asking why me and start declaring why not me. Because you begin to realize that everything you've been through, every valley, every night of weeping, every season of silence, was training for the call. You've been stretched, crushed, molded. And now God is saying, I'm ready to use what I formed. But when you look at the life of Esther, she didn't feel qualified. She didn't feel ready. But Mordecai said to her, who knows if you were brought into the kingdom for such a time as this? And that same question is being asked of you right now. Who knows if your story, your pain, your unique journey was exactly what God needed to release something that would break generational curses, open new doors, and lead others into freedom. You've been hidden, yes, but hidden isn't forgotten. Hidden isn't rejected. Hidden is where God grows his strongest soldiers. You've been incubating under pressure. You've been developing while nobody was watching, and now heaven is saying it's time. You've been chosen not for applause, but for assignment. You've been called not to chase platforms, but to carry purpose. And don't expect everyone to understand it. Not everybody will recognize the new thing God is doing in you because they're still looking at who you were. But your identity is not in their memory, it's in God's prophecy. He called you, he equipped you, he anointed you. And the same power that raised Jesus from the dead is living inside you, pushing you forward into the fullness of what he's about to release. This isn't the season to shrink back. This isn't the season to second guess. This is the season to rise, to speak, to step forward. Because after July 14, 2025, doors are going to open that only the prepared can walk through. Platforms will rise for the surrendered. Mantles will fall on those who are ready to carry the weight of glory, not for themselves, but for the kingdom. So let the stirring become strategy. Let the restlessness become readiness. Let the burden become boldness. You've been set apart for a reason, and God is about to show the world why. Get ready to move. Not because you've got it all figured out, but because you finally realized who you belong to. You're not average. You're not overlooked. You are chosen. And your yes is about to unlock the next chapter of destiny.